KCast Radio, good morning. You're probably wondering here if you're watching us on Facebook Live why we're just kind of sitting around and waiting. Obviously, we're live on the KCast Radio app. That's our bread and butter. Thousands of listeners. We greatly appreciate that. Of course, you can download the KCast Radio app. It's free through Apple, Android, Alexa, Google Play, all those things. And check out Kurre and Klapow every Monday through Friday morning between 6 and 9 right here on KCast Radio. And then once in a while, we do the Facebook Live thing. We got all these fireworks in here from ssfireworks.com, Super Show Fireworks, fan those guys. And I would say today being July 1st, I'd say get after it today because the fireworks shortage, if you really want the big stuff like I got here.
Well, actually, no, there's no big stuff.
If there's any big stuff left.
No,
there is. There's plenty of stuff. They're one of the best. They got some of the best distributors. And the thing is, the Super Show Fireworks is open year-round. Right. So they're going to get the best stuff that they know that they sell year-round. They're
curated.
Yeah. And they've been doing business for 20 years, and so they're like, Super Show Fireworks are going to get all their stuff. The rest of you yahoos will get your stuff later. Right. So they get all the good stuff, but get in there. They'll obviously have a ton of great stuff all the way through the 4th of July, but I would say if you really want to load up, if you're that dude that is doing the neighborhood thing. By the way, are you coming over on the 4th?
Yeah, if not, I'm just going to sit in my house.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Are you coming or not?
I don't know. I asked Jules.
Ask Jules.
Well, just ask him what we have planned.
We'll make it plans now. You got 3 days.
Yeah, okay.
Say, hey, I got an idea. Tony invited me to come over on the 4th of July. Sit in my driveway. I'll make some hot dogs. Bring a Coke. Have a cup of coffee.
Don't make hot dogs for Jules.
You don't like hot dogs?
No.
Well, that explains a lot. A woman who won't eat hot dogs.
Shouldn't like hot dogs.
And a woman who does dip. You have to,
Does what?
Does dip.
Oh, dip.
Any woman that'll do dip.
I thought you said something
Any woman that'll do dip will put anything in her mouth.
You got me sweating, man.
Yeah. All right, good morning to you. It is July 1st. This is the Kurre and Klapow show here on KCast Radio. Problem child there from ACDC. I want to thank Kai Gregory with Southern Precision Staffing, 205-682-2828. They do staffing needs, anything from construction to IT in between, where your name and, of course, your word and your handshake still mean something. I allowed his entire 8 and under team, who won the Grand Slam World Series down in Panama City, the Hoover Bucks black team. I let them all pick their songs last night, so every kid got to pick, and these kids picked some great songs. And one of them was Problem Child. I'm not sure why he picked that one.
Did he or his parents?
He probably, yeah, no doubt.
Pick Problem Child.
But the dads were rocking. It was great, and so we had a great crowd last night. And our every week we do that show, our listenership continues to just go up exponentially because it just explodes. On the internet there's a break point where when you're out there pushing, and then eventually it gets to a point where it just kind of takes care of itself and explodes, and we're with that on the ACDC thing, so it was fantastic. Congratulations to the Hoover Bucks, black 8 and under team, and they won the Grand Slam, and we're happy to do Live Wire Wednesday with them last night. All right, we got a lot to get into today. I'm going to start off with the one thing that a lot of people, Felicia Rashad catching a lot of crap yesterday because she posted an Instagram post about Lord save us, wonderful news, Bill Cosby's out of prison.
Really?
Yeah, and then she had to shut off the comment part of Instagram because she was getting hammered, and then she posted something else saying, I'm here for women who have been assaulted. I want you to continue to come forward. And someone said, listen, it's kind of like you can't be.
Like you can't do that.
First I want to get your thoughts on it. We talked about Bill Cosby a few weeks ago. I don't know how old Bill is. The fact that he's still in prison, I'm not saying he didn't deserve to go to prison, okay? I'm not saying that at all. But when you have 80-year-olds sitting in prison, I'm kind of like, and it's just costing money. I don't think he's a danger to society anymore. Maybe he is. I don't know. He doesn't seem to be incredibly cognizant right now, but I'm kind of like, and a part of me is, again, I'm a canvas guy. I look at someone's entire life, okay? And it really bothers me. I'm not saying it's not right or wrong. It really bothers me when someone seems to have done pretty well, and I use the Joe Paterno situation, where someone has done some really wonderful things in their life, okay? Bad people do wonderful things too. Wonderful people do bad things, right? And then the last thing they do is the worst thing they possibly could have done, and that's what they're remembered for. And so I try to, at least in my brain, try to remember the good things. It's like a marriage, or it's like anything else. It's like anything else. Well, no.
I know where you're going, but I think you're not going to make it down on this path.
Well, the reason I say this is we have no problem putting people up in pedestals when the last thing they do is good. You could be a creep,
Yeah,
you
but
could be
this
a
isn't-
rapist, you could be a murderer, you could be a horrible person, but if you turn your life around, at the end,
We don't necessarily put you up on a pedestal. We say you turned his life around.
yeah, we do.
No.
Yes, we do.
No.
Well, he really turned his life
That's
around.
right,
He
but-
was a tough guy, and we remember him from a legacy standpoint. We remember that man or woman
Unless you're
as a decent individual.
No.
But if it's the reverse, it's the last thing you do. Just make sure the last thing you do is a good thing.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, and this isn't a one thing that he did or didn't do. This is over years and years. And talk to. See, we're in a weird position because we can talk about being sympathetic, empathetic. We're men.
Yeah.
I heard a comment yesterday. Would he been out if he did this to men and boys? If he had sodomized men and had drugged them and had done that, would he still be out?
Horrible.
Well, and that's the thing. This is not one. This was 50. He admitted to it, although he admitted to doing it, but didn't see anything wrong with it, right? And this is over the course of years. So there are so many women right now, men too, but there are so many women that are saying this is the exact problem that we have. It doesn't matter whether he's 80 or not.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter all the great things.
I understand. I understand.
That's what. And Paterno. Yeah. I still think Paterno is a different story. So it's I mean, there's some similarities. If Paterno had been doing the act, it would make a much different storyline.
No doubt.
And I think the thing with Bill Cosby about being 80 in prison, if you admitted to this and you did this, I think what a lot of people are frustrated is on the technicality. I mean, that's the way our law works, and that he's out on technicality. He's admitted to doing it. But he proclaims his innocence because what he did, he didn't believe was wrong.
Well, I don't know if he didn't necessarily believe it wasn't wrong, because anyone that's feeding Quaaludes to women so they get so messed up that he can rape them is for the most part, I think people realize that's probably not a good thing. The one thing about the law, though, you brought up, though, is that he did divulge all this information under the idea that he was not going to be prosecuted for that particular thing. The DA changed in 2015. They go back and they used all that testimony, which he provided for them under his own cognizance.
Absolutely.
He's like, I don't have to talk here. I'm not going to incriminate myself. And they said, listen, we're not going to prosecute you if you give us this information. It was for the civil case, which of course they settled. Which I guess, and I know the law is a little different between civil and criminal.
Yeah.
Because then you're thinking, why would you incriminate yourself then? He probably thought, okay, I'm going to divulge some information, I'm going to pay it off, and it's going to go away. Then they came back and got. So I understand the law too. And there's a reason why that law is in place.
Yes.
So you do get information that you need for any other case, and of course a lot of people listen. He's a creep. It's unfortunate. Maybe this is one of those things. I think this is where Felicia Rashad's coming from. She probably knew Bill as a totally different individual, and maybe he wasn't doing some of those things during the apex of his career. I don't know. Some people are coming out saying, "Oh, we all knew about Bill." Other people are like, "I never saw Bill do anything like that." So. Sometimes this is like when you find out that your dad is a creep.
Well, but creep,
or a bad person, or whatever.
Let's go beyond.
You don't want to believe it, and so you're trying to be loyal to the person that you have known for a long period of time as an individual. We talked about this,
Matt Lauer. But see, to me, the difference is there's a difference between being a creep, and I think you're using creep this way.
Yeah.
Creepy, a little odd, doing some things that are a little shady. Fine. That it's a little awkward. This is horrific.
Yeah.
Like this is horrific. So to your point, you can do all the wonderful things in the world, great things. I mean, we talked about this. For most of us, Bill Cosby was our hero.
Yeah.
Right. But as soon as you do something like that, and when I say as soon as, and those things over time, it does erase it in the net. If you add the two things up, yes, you did these great things, but the things that you did that were bad were so bad that, as you said, if I look at your whole canvas, the bad things far outweigh the good things.
Yeah, we also, and this is on us as the celebrity public, and we talked about David Lee Roth yesterday. We want to believe what we see and hear on camera or music is the person that you really are, and rarely is that the case.
Well, and not just celebrity. We have this in life.
Yeah.
Right? The friend who, like, oh my God, I had no idea.
We all have neighbors doing things that you would not believe.
Dude, right. Talk to Jeff Hammock.
Yeah.
Spy for Rent. Talk to Jeff Hammock. Talk to police officers. Talk to psychologists. You are blown away even as a psychologist, when somebody comes in and they look to be the pillar of society, or maybe they are the pillar of society, and they share with you what they're doing,
Yeah.
it is everything you can do to not drop your jaw, right? And it's not even, I'm psychotic. It's more of just this kind of stuff, this nasty stuff. And that's the piece, I think, where a lot of people were disappointed is, yes, he's 80 years old, but so great. So now he's out, and now he's living at home. Is he going to hurt anybody? No. But it's a justice thing.
Yeah.
And on the one end, you got the law part, right?
Yeah.
And on the other hand, you got people going, this is crap.
What's kind of funny is, it's not really funny, is the fact that he used Quaaludes. I thought that was something that went out in the 70s. You know what Quaaludes went out in the 70s?
But he used them in the 70s and 80s.
Well, I know, but I just hadn't heard the word Quaaludes.
Oh, okay.
Probably in about 30
Well,
years.
maybe he didn't have access to anything else.
I mean, there's date rape stuff. There's all kinds of things he could have used.
And
there's something really strange, and we're going to use the word creepy, when a person of power still has to use things, and I think of Cuba Gooding Jr., and I'm like, dude, look at you. I mean,
because
you
it's
could
what's
pretty
underneath.
much.
I'm sorry. I had a conversation yesterday with somebody about this. The people who have the outside power and persona, and people look at them as to be the influencers, particularly if that rise is quick, or particularly if that rise happens and that person, and this is imposter syndrome, right? We all have this. You know, we get a promotion, and you're kind of in the back of your head, you're going, they promoted me, but I kind of don't know exactly what right? Well, so this happens, and when it goes fast and powerful, underneath, you've got a person who is insecure, who may think very ill of themselves, who may have been told over and over again that they're not good, that they can't make it. And what comes out is, you kind of got two paths. You either got the path that comes out and they do the right thing, or you got the path that comes out, the Bill Cosby. They get absolutely corrupted by the power.
Yep.
And they don't know how to manage it. And we'll talk about this later, it's the whole lack of delayed gratification. Everything's in front of them. Everybody's saying yes. They got no people in front of them.
Yeah. Birthdays today, Carl Lewis. We got the Olympics coming up. He turns 60. Jamie Farr of MASH. Yes, he's still alive. How old is he?
80.
87. Missy Elliott's 50. Debbie Harry.
Wait, Missy Elliott's 50?
Yep.
Oh, I love Missy.
Debbie Harry.
80.
She's 76. Dan Aykroyd. I interviewed Dan at the Grammys 20 years ago, and Blues Brothers 2 had come out, obviously, after John had passed away, and I was trying to ramp up into the interview. I was like, I love the second movie, and he started asking me questions about the movie, and obviously he knew based on my answers. I didn't see any. He called me out on the air. Anyway, he's 69. Liv Tyler, 45. Pamela Anderson.
63.
Wow, 54.
Oh. She's our age.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of Pamela Anderson. I mean, you think just based on her
life.
She has lived a hard life, but for 54, she looks about 54, right?
She looks like.
And one of those, I remember where I was when this happened moments. Lady Di turned 60 today. She would have been 60. She died at the age of 36, and of course, the unveiling of her statue goes off today at Kensington.
You do your homework. You know all kinds of things.
Yeah. Well, the Lady Di thing's been everywhere because the two sons are getting together today to be there. Prince William's not going to be there. Or no, Prince
Harry?
William and Harry will be there. Prince Charles will not be there. He's busy. He's playing cricket or something. But they're going to unveil the statue today, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because
that's going to be an interesting time for Harry and William. So Harry's been doing some, I think it's HBO Plus or maybe it's Apple Plus. He's been doing some stuff with.
He's been doing everything.
Well, he's been doing some stuff with Oprah on mental health, but and I've been watching it because it's been really interesting, and they have had celebrities, athletes, but one of the things they're filming him is going through some of his therapy, which I was a little bit like. And that kid's got, he's not a kid, he's got major PTSD.
Yeah.
I mean, really, just England and particularly sort of the royal setting are major triggers for him. Mm-hmm. And people are, these triggers, it's all around the death of his mom.
Yeah.
And one of the things, I'm going to tell you this because I'm a psychologist.
Sure.
This is interesting. So the whole Meghan Markle thing, what he basically said was, he said, I grew up watching my mom be hounded and harassed by paparazzi.
Yep.
He's like, I was a little kid. I didn't understand, but all I knew was there were people yelling at her and okay. And that'll scare any little kid if you're doing it to their parent. He said, I watched that my whole life, and then I watched, essentially, my mom die because of, and he said two things, because of the paparazzi, but while she was also with a man of another race.
Yeah.
And so then the Meghan Markle piece comes in, and he's like, look, rational or irrational, it scared the crap out of me.
It's weird because she was again, I don't know her from Adam's house, Scott. I can only tell you what I've read. She seems like she was an incredibly giving, compassionate, empathetic. She would do all kinds of, she would go visit orphanages, and she went to Africa. She did all these wonderful things. She never really wanted to celebrate her birthday. If you asked her or people around her, they'd always say she always wanted to celebrate other people's things on her particular day. She was 36 when she died, so she wouldn't have been doing anything particularly interesting. What's interesting about her, though, is she was being courted by about every wealthy man in the world, including one Donald Trump. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
On her 36th birthday, he sent her flowers. They got there 2 days late, and she called him a creep. And she donated them. She donated them to some hospital that did
HIV stuff.
No, some colonics thing, and she's like, "This is perfect from one bum to the next," which was really funny. And I could totally see Donald Trump sending flowers to Lady Diane because 2 days late, because he has said on tape, I could have nailed it, and I'm like, okay. But I mean, the fact that she got caught up in this lifestyle that appeared to be very influential, very fast. There was a lot of money. We had there were premiers, there were ministers, there were wealthy.
She was free.
Well, she was, but it seems like maybe she wasn't particularly good in a lot of the choices she took. I mean, obviously, you had a lot of men trying to get near her because she was beautiful, she was compassionate, she seemed to be a wonderful person, and she was taken advantage of in that way. And the whole way she went down was the whole Dodie thing in the car and speeding away. It was just kind of weird.
Well, and that's what Harry is like that. That was it's a trigger. I mean, just imagine.
I would have rather seen her go out. I would have never seen her go out, but I'd rather have seen her go out as more of a Mother Teresa kind of situation where she just, again, but it seemed like there was this lifestyle that we didn't know about her. Well, she seems so
because she had
conservative, laid back kind of thing. Well, next thing you know, she's
I mean, she admitted major anxiety, of course.
Yeah.
Major.
Not blaming her by any stretch.
No, I know. So I think it's super sad. I mean, think about it. If your mom died when she was 36.
Yeah.
You know, and I've always said this about and it's coming out about the royal family. It's celebrity taken to the nth degree.
Yeah.
And I think we shouldn't slam on people who live a life that we don't understand, that most of us don't understand, whether that's celebrity or somebody who's a business executive or an athlete or a minister.
What's really interesting too is, I mean, she was always called the People's Princess.
Yeah.
You know, unveiling the statue is probably one of the last things the family wants to do.
Oh, the family? Yeah, I know.
I mean, like, we got to do it.
Yeah.
You know, just to keep everyone happy.
Charles not there. That's pretty. See, again, there's the read the room, play the game.
Yeah.
Like, why are you not there?
Mm-hmm.
What? First of all, you have access to anything and everything. What, are you busy?
Yeah.
You got no time?
I'm not sure. I read somewhere where he wasn't going to be there because of some, I don't know what the situation.
Previous engagement?
Well, the statue's always going to be there, so maybe you can see it tomorrow.
It's a dumbass move. It's just a dumbass move. People are dumb.
Yeah. People don't think. Speaking of not thinking, Britney Spears did something yesterday that I think was pretty interesting. Of course, the judge came out.
I was looking.
This didn't take long at all.
Like, what happened? I'm going to put my computer down because I was trying to figure out.
We talked about the conservatorship last week. We were on Fox 6. We'll be on Fox 6 again this morning around 9:35. We're going to be talking about beating your kids. Mm-hmm. And we talked about this, and we did it on their television show. And wow, within 3 or 4 days. So evidently, Spears, 39, has been under the conservatorship of her father since 2008. Jamie Last week, the singer told the court in Los Angeles she wanted it to end. We found out that the court-appointed attorney, or the attorney that was appointed by her father,
was getting
which is
$10,000
really
a week.
bizarre,
Right.
Waited too long. She felt enslaved and trapped, and of course, everyone's coming out. Everyone from Christina Aguilera to Justin Timberlake saying this is horrible, this is terrible. Yesterday, TMZ reported the judge has denied her request. Judge Brenda Penny ruled the current terms of the conservatorship will remain. No further details and the reasons behind the ruling have been shared. Spears' lawyer is expected to file a new request for her to be freed. It also came out that Jamie, her father, is being paid about $16,000 a month to run the conservatorship, even though he's living in an RV or something somewhere. And then right afterwards, she posts pictures of her in a multitude of bikinis.
Why? Maybe that's why.
I'm kind of like, I want to think I know more about this case than the judge does, or what Brittany or her father does. Something's missing here. Yeah. Something ain't right. Maybe, and then Federline came out, who's obviously the father of kids, and he's like, I love Brittany, but she probably does need to go through a psychiatric evaluation. If she passes that, then I'm cool with whatever happens. He goes, I stand behind her, I support her, but want to make sure everything's cool. She's almost 40 years old. But then, I'm thinking to myself, of all times, you're relevant. You got your show in Vegas.
Right.
You're worth $60 million.
But see,
and then you're posting pictures with your thumbs inside your bikini bottoms like an hour afterwards. I'm like, wait a minute. Something ain't right with you. I don't know what it is. I'm not talking head shaving part, but something just ain't right with her. That's not the time to be posting pictures of you half naked on Instagram right after you find out I'm
telling you, and some celebrities have this, there needs to be a reality person on the team. And I was going to say a reality coach. I hate using that word. But there has got to be, they talk about have the right inner circle. Yeah. Have the people, don't have the yes people, have the no people too, right?
Yeah, but how many celebrities really have that person?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And
even those people, it could be your father, it could be your mother, your best friend. You got to trust me on this. Don't put this out at 3 o'clock in the morning. Don't do this. Don't do that. But they're taking a piece of the pie too. Well, they're getting paid.
But see, that's what I'm saying is.
Can you trust anybody?
Well,
can you trust anybody?
No, but I think this is a business opportunity for me.
Go get it, man.
No, but see, here's the thing. You're right. It gets really convoluted because your agent may be looking out for you because they want you to be successful both for you and for them. They don't want to see your career tank because they lose out. Your parents, let's just say they're not completely screwed up. They love you, but there is, same thing, to the extent that you're successful, right? It's the contingencies. To the extent that you're successful, you may be happy and they make money. Yeah. Okay, there's that one. Your PR person, the PR person is always, again, interesting to me because they don't want you doing too crazy of shit, because if it's too crazy, okay. So I always think the PR, where's the PR team? Yeah. Look, Brittany, don't do that, and here's why. But I still think there needs to be somebody that you hire in your moment of lucidity, that you hire to look out for your best interest psychologically. You may be paying them, but you're paying them not a percentage of your net worth.
Yeah.
That's me. So my job, listen, I do this with some athletes now. But I do this with athletes. Athletes who are right on the line, who are maybe making some poor decisions, not terrible, but poor decisions, and they need somebody who's not their parents, not their coach, not their agent, that they can trust, that will at least trust to tell them what is the truth. Yeah. They can still make their own decision, but I think that that's not there.
Well, and I don't know if this is happening on purpose or not, but I can tell you right now, at the age of 39.
Well, yeah, by now
I haven't seen and I know she's making money. I don't even know if she's doing the Las Vegas thing anymore. I can see this in a couple of years. The conservatorship will be over, but then her earning power just. Because
the conservatorship, or because she declined?
No, because she's just getting too old.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see Britney Spears turning to J-Lo. I don't think she's going to be doing shows at the age of 50. I don't. Not because I think she's crazy, or because I just don't see the staying power there of a Britney Spears putting that type of show on, unless someone gets behind her and the freak value there. Some people probably go see a Britney Spears show. Just, I mean,
Well, for
this
a
ain't the
while-
same girl with the plaid skirt on when she was 16, 30 years ago. It's something, but something's not right there. Something's not right. You don't post pictures of yourself in a bikini an hour after you find out.
That's what I'm saying. Is that right? You're right.
Like, what are you doing?
Well, that doesn't make you, and it doesn't make you crazy, right? That doesn't, by definition, make you crazy. It's poor judgment, and the poor judgment can be either because you got something going on psychologically, right? That's really serious, or you just have poor judgment, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I don't understand. I just really don't understand. Yes, you have the ability to do that. It's your Instagram account, but well. Maybe this is why the conservatorship's there. Maybe this is why the conservatorship.
Maybe it is. You know, and women that post pictures like that, if I can go on a little bit of a tangent.
You go ahead. It's your show.
If you're laying by the beach and you're taking the picture of your toes in the water, and there's something else adding to the picture, maybe you're in a restaurant, maybe you're by a pool with a friend, maybe you're in Cabo San Lucas, maybe you're in
there's
wherever,
a nice rock formation,
and you just so happen in a bikini, and you're like, I look really good in this bikini, and there's a rock formation, some type of natural whatever. I get that. But just to post pictures of yourself in a yellow bikini, which is not necessarily, it's not sponsored, it's not her bikini, it's not her brand name, it's just a yellow bikini, then there's an orange bikini, then there's a red bikini,
Yeah.
they're all the same, there's 3 different pictures, and she's posting that, and I'm going, I don't get that. I don't, why? There's no reason, and certainly the timing sucks. What are you doing? Why are you posting that now? I mean, if you're looking for compassion and looking for people to be sympathetic towards your needs, you're crying one day talking about how you're a slave and you can't take your IUD out and you're not allowed to have babies and you can't get married. And then right after you find out your world's falling apart, you're posting pictures of you in a yellow bikini that's not special to anything. Yeah.
It's sad. It is sad because it's
something's not right.
What'd you call it? What's the diagnosis? Okay.
Maybe this judge knows what's going on.
Look, we've said it. You have to trust enough. I know we're coming off the Bill Cosby technicality thing. You got to trust enough that there's something going on, that the decision was that quick. It's not just complete, The conservatorship was put in place for a reason.
Has Kim Kardashian said anything about this, by the way? Because Kim Kardashian is the one that always she's the one that meets with the president. She gets things done. She can slide right. Hey, as a woman who posts a lot of pictures in bikinis. Even Kim Kardashian does stuff, but she's selling all the stuff. She posts a picture of herself every single day, and people love it, and it's always incredible.
I love Kim Kardashian because I think she's absolutely. She's got the brains of her dad and mom. Yeah. But she knows what she's doing. Yeah. And with Britney, I get a little worried. Because you talk about the canvas. It's the whole canvas. Yeah. You clearly had some psychiatric problems, enough that you needed to be hospitalized, enough that you need to get help. And look, I am the last person to say, once you've had the diagnosis, now we should forever put you away. Absolutely not.
Any doubt there's going to be some type of Oprah Britney thing coming out? I mean, I would think someone's all over this. I know there was a documentary out. And
there's a documentary.
She's super relevant right now, but I want to see her talk in front of a camera for an hour with no editing.
It's going to be Oprah. Yeah. Oprah's the person. Barbara used to be the person. It's Oprah. Now you come in front of Oprah, and she speaks to you somewhere between a friend, a journalist, and a mother, and you cry. Yeah. It's exactly the same thing.
He's Dr. Josh Klapow. I'm Tony Curry. This is the Kurre and Klapow Show. We do it on the KCast radio app every Monday through Friday morning. You can listen to us from 6 until 9 Monday through Friday. Get the KCast radio app. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. We're not going to notify you or anything else. It's a flaming guitar. Super cool. We do classic rock 24 hours a day. We got some really cool things coming up. We have our IBM Champions chat later on tonight. We have partnered up with IBM and IBM International.
I thought IUD.
So super. No, this is
we have
IBM.
an IUD champions.
Super cool thing we're doing. It's where high tech mashes up with classic rock. We'll do that at 7 o'clock later on tonight, and we're also your detonation station. That's why we have all the fireworks from ssfireworks.com. Super Show Fireworks. Make sure you're listening up. Coming up on Sunday night, Dr. Josh will be in my driveway along with his lovely bride Jules. Eating hot dogs. Coming up on Sunday. Make sure you're listening up, and obviously you don't have to wait till then to get that done. So we're lots to get into this morning here on KCast Radio. I do want you to mention one of our great sponsors before we move on, because we couldn't do it without.
Absolutely, we couldn't do it without Driscoll Gray. John Gray is an amazing financial advisor. I have worked with him for well over a decade. And the thing about money, we got a conservatorship. We got a conservatorship going on. We got NCA. We got collegiate athletes now having an opportunity to make money. And one of the things that John has always told me is, the opportunities are there financially. It's what you do with them, how you manage them, and your ability to make them exponentially work for you. And that's what John Gray does. He's got a great webpage, driscollgray.com. He's a certified financial advisor. He'll help you do wealth management, debt management. I've got my kids now taking birthday money and sending it to John to invest in them, which is absolutely great. So go to his webpage, driscollgray.com, and this is John Gray.
The heart-wrenching stories continue to come out of Miami. I can believe the number is now 18, with still 140-something people missing. Two things that came out yesterday I thought were really interesting, and the one, you want to talk about creepy, is the picture of the bunk beds. I forget what floor it is, where the wall has fallen away, and there's a bunk bed that's up against the wall, and that picture's been shown a million times, and people obviously want to know, were there children in that bunk bed? And could you imagine waking up and not seeing the floor 3 feet to your left when you get out of bed? We're finding out that actual apartment was owned by a New York attorney, and it was a furnished apartment, and so we're assuming there were no kids in it. If you go to, this is the weird thing, if you go to apartments.com, that room, that apartment is still on their site. It says currently not available. But based on the pictures there, you can see it's furnished, so the bunk bed was in there in the picture, and so and it shows the view. So we're hoping that there were no children involved in that. The other thing that's really interesting is we're hearing the stories now of people, because Miami is not only a place where people love to live, but it's also very transient. People go back and forth. There's a lot of meetings, lots of conventions, things like that. And a lot of people who like to go down to Florida for the winter months, and then they move back up. There was a story about a gentleman, I want to say he was from Philadelphia. He would go down to Florida and then normally go back up to Philadelphia in July and spend a few months up there, and then he'd move back down and stay in his apartment. For some reason, he decided for the first time in his life, and he's been doing this for like 30 years, for the first time in his life, he decided to go up to Philadelphia and see his brother a few weeks early. Normally he would stay till like July 7th or 8th or something after 4th of July, and then he goes, I've been doing it for years, and for some reason, nothing told him to go. He decided, it's getting kind of hot down here. I think I'm going to go up to Philadelphia and see my brother a little early. So he left a couple days prior to the condominiums falling apart, and now he's having this thing called guilt. And he's having a huge guilt. And for people who have survived plane crashes, boat crashes, anything traumatic. Tornadoes. If you're the one person who survives and everyone else is wiped out, what do they call it? What's it called? What's the psychological term for it?
Survivor's guilt.
Survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
And so he said, I'm absolutely tormented. As an individual who sees someone survive, I'm thinking, how blessed are you that you made it through? But they don't look at it that way. I want you, from a psychological standpoint, to talk about that, because I actually had a couple of friends of mine. A friend of mine was in a car crash, lost his wife and 3 children. He was the only one not wearing a belt. He lived through it. And it's one of those things where you can question God all you want, but you're like, why in the world was I the one to live through this car crash when everyone else seemed to be doing the right thing? We've got children, we've got older elders, we've got different people making it through, and then other people not making it through this condominium situation. We'll even talk about the car crash that killed 10 people a couple of weeks ago, including 8 children. It's kind of like, what in the world? Why is this happening? Talk about survival's guilt.
You just did a great job of describing it. It's the feeling of, it's the mixed emotions. It's exactly what it is. It's, I am so lucky, I have so much, and then it's instantly put up against all that was lost. And it's a state of confusion, right? It's a state of emotional confusion. How do I reconcile for myself feeling lucky and blessed and having this great benefit when all this bad is done? If you think about it, it really comes from morality. There are people who think about it this way. People who don't have survivor's guilt, you question their morals. So having guilt comes from morality. What it says is, I feel bad about either what I've done or what has happened. And when you take it to its absolute extreme, life or death, it's not just, we've all felt guilty.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I wish, relationships. I wish I hadn't cheated. Right? I wish I hadn't stole. And we've all felt that it's that nagging pain that doesn't go away. Okay, now just ramp that up. Instead of a relationship that's gone awry, this person's dead. Or all these people dead. And even if it wasn't your fault, and that's the thing that people don't understand. Okay, well, it wasn't your fault. It is the feeling that I got to be here and they didn't. And I feel bad about it. And as a result, I feel guilty. And it can get better. It never goes away. I mean, it can be completely debilitating, but it never goes away.
Bad things happen to good people, good things
Yes.
happen to bad people. We know that, right? And so when you're talking about billions and billions and billions of people and billions and billions and billions of different situations, weird stuff happens, and we have free will, and so sometimes it's best not to try to explain it.
That's right.
I can see where someone in a position like this is thinking to themselves, okay, God has a plan for me,
Exactly.
and that's probably the worst thing you can do. Don't try to figure it out, because if you're one of those individuals thinks, okay, why am I the only one who survived? Obviously, I'm being set up to do something either special or something to put that added stress on top of a survival skill. I think would be not a good
For
thing.
some people, no, I actually thought you were going to go a different direction with it. Yes, but for some people, it does give them purpose, because it kind of takes, takes it off of them.
Yeah, depending on whether they're a purposeful person in the first place.
Well, and your sort of religious beliefs, and your because. So think about both scenarios. One, there is a higher being. This happened. Mm-hmm. It must have happened for a reason.
Yeah.
Now the problem you're right, you run into is if you sit there all day long. Okay, what was the reason? I got to figure out the reason, right? You're screwed. Because if you try to figure out the reason, you're never going to figure out the reason. Or some people think they figure out the reason. But if you say, it happened and I am here for some reason, I don't know what it is. So I'm going to live my life in a way that is honorable, honoring their loss. I think what you see a lot of people do, and you just have to be careful, is a lot of people will change their whole life because it's life-changing, and they'll dedicate their life to something.
Yeah.
That's fine as long as it's a true dedication, and you're not doing it out of guilt alone. I think the opposite happens when you go, I don't understand, this was random, and there is this period where it's random and you don't know what to do. We as human beings, we hate not understanding why things happen. We're born. I mean, that's why we think. That's how we develop things, right? So our brains are constantly trying to create a story to make our world understandable. It's where all the biases come in.
Particularly when you go through tragedy.
Well, yes.
Because if you're living your life right and bad things happen, you figure things are going to even out, and that's not necessarily true.
Yes.
Life is tough. Life is hard. Sometimes it's overwhelming. We know that. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where at the end of the story, and even then, it's not always, well, if I was 5 seconds later, this would have happened and everything would have been different. I mean, it's a wonderful life, right? It's a wonderful life. But if you try to figure out while you're doing it, you're just getting drudged down. And it's very difficult not to want to do that, particularly if you've been through some situations where you have been saved, or for whatever reason, God has let you remain in body on this earth to continue to do wonderful things. And you hope, to your point, that you can make good out of what's going on. We saw that with COVID. We're seeing that with COVID. There's a lot of people that gave up their jobs just to go help people, do mission work, do things.
That's right.
And so we've created a plethora of wonderful individuals based on their tragedy in their life that they can do better things for other people. We know that when you help other people, it gets you outside yourself and makes you happy.
Well, and let me just say this. You can be a religious person and this works, and you can be a non-religious person. So if you're a religious person, you can say God has a plan.
Yep.
And I'm gonna just live my life good and well, and I'm gonna honor them because God has a plan for me.
Yep.
So that one works. But let's say you're not. Let's say you're not even agnostic. You're an atheist. There is no God.
Yeah.
Great. The right thing to do, the moral thing, is to respect and honor their life, right? So you don't need a God to say that somebody has passed away,
Yep.
and I feel for that. So I'm going to live my life in a way that shows respect and honors the gift that I have and the loss. So it works no matter what situation you're in. All that being said, the guilt part takes a lot of time to work through.
Yep.
Sometimes people get clinically depressed because of it.
I would think.
They do. And this is one of those times where, man, of all the times, whether you're talking to your clergy or you're talking to a psychologist, this is a time where if you're just trying to figure it out, dude, you run yourself into the ground. I mean, you got to put some parameters around figuring out and thinking. Otherwise, because there's no clear.
Unbreakable, right? With the movie Unbreakable.
Yes. Look at you. You're so insightful.
I know, man. I had fiber this morning. I feel fantastic.
That's what
Dr. Josh Klapow. I'm Tony Kurre. This is KCast Radio. We got classic rock the bone. We do it 24 hours a day. We're going to be going all day long. Coming up later on this morning here, in about an hour and a half, we're going to be on Fox 6. We want to thank WBRC for a great partnership with them. We're going to be talking about beating our kids. We're looking forward to that.
That's why I'm
we
here.
talked about that a couple days ago, and we'll talk about that coming up a little later on in the show. Make sure you download the KCast Radio app. It's KCast Radio, KCast. There's a big flaming guitar. It's beautiful. Pull that bad boy up. It's 24 hours a day. It's great classic rock and roll stuff you don't have to tolerate. You can love your classic rock and roll again. All right, so I was on the Jay Barker Radio Network on Tuesday.
Good
all
timing.
over the state. And they were asking me about the NCAA, and it happened yesterday. They have now opened the door to millions.
That was fast. Do you think it was fast, by the way?
Yeah, I mean, it was
Given the first one?
going to happen.
Okay.
The NCAA Board of Directors realizes that they need to come along quickly, or else they're not going to exist anymore. Proved one of the biggest changes in the history of college athletics yesterday. The decision effectively suspends restrictions on payments to athletes for things such as sponsorship deals, online endorsements, personal appearances. It came on the eve of the market opening Thursday for athletes in a dozen states, including giants like Texas and Florida. States were taking this on. They're like, we're going to do our own thing. Screw the NCAA. If the NCAA, and Bill Hancock, and we've interviewed him a million times, he wants to be part of the NCAA and the changing and evolution of what student athletes are, then they had to come along with it because they were going to have lawsuits all over the place. The NCAA makes billions and billions of dollars. I, 10 years ago, was on the other side, and I'm not an athlete. I didn't receive a scholarship, and I always felt like if I'm going to Boston College and I'm getting $125,000 worth of free education every year, I think it's a wash. If I'm a great player, chances are I'm going to be on TV more, certainly with outlets and platforms like ESPN and every other sports station in town that's giving you the wherewithal and the TV time. You're going to make your money, right? Now we're allowing kids to dip into their potential earnings a little early. Two things come to mind. First of all, okay, my father's rich, or my father's best friend's rich. He really wants to see me play at the University of Alabama or Auburn, and he's going to give me a deal. A good friend of mine, Tim Harris, who, of course, listens to the show every morning, sent me a picture of a kid holding a Milo's tea bottle this morning saying, look at this, folks. I got my first deal already today. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Here we go. So I have no problem with kids making cash, having their likeness used. First of all, I can't think of maybe one or two players per team, even in the Power 5 conferences, being able to take advantage of this situation. I don't think you're going to have 20 or 30 kids on every football team in the Power 5 getting paid. They may get something, but it ain't going to be life-changing.
No. Okay, good. Because I was
You're going to get a pair of $500 rims, a watch, whatever, go to the school, do your thing. But we're not talking $50,000 to $100,000 for 20 or 30 kids.
But let me just say this just before you go on to the next point. Given all of the sort of micro revenue earning opportunities, and I say micro, so from sponsored Instagram stuff to local endorsements, that kind of stuff. And the reason I'm saying this is psychologically, this is also dangerous because you got the people on the team who are going to make these giant deals. And it goes all the way down. Then you got the kids on the team who are making like little tiny bits, And the problem with that, it's like a little bit of cocaine, just a little bit of crack. Oh, well, I got that, and they got that. Oh, I can get there.
Yeah.
And that's the part that also concerns me is it because everybody said the same thing is, oh, it's just going to be a couple people on the team. No way. Are you kidding? Think about your kid working at Publix.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Your kid's working at Publix, and they're like, or your kid's not in college, they're in college. They're waiting tables.
Yeah.
And they're an athlete. They're waiting tables. They're like, okay, this sucks. And like, well, let me try. I got 20,000 people on Instagram. Look at this.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, and particularly if it's working for minimum wage, think about that.
There's a lot of things at play here. First of all, you have to be a good player. You can sit there and get all the money you want. If you're the third string quarterback, it's not going to make any difference. You're going to get paid, but it ain't going to last.
Right.
Because ultimately where you're going to make the big money is at the next level. You are going to probably have some issues.
Yeah.
You're going to have some issues with other kids in the locker room because of what you just said. But ultimately, if these kids, and per your conversation, I know Paul Feinbaum, our good friend, was on ESPN this morning, was talking about this is going to be a headache for coaches. I don't think so. I don't think the Nick Sabans of the world are going to be affected by this at all because he's there to win football games. He's there to win championships. And if you're not along for that ride, and all of a sudden you can't play, and we see kids holding out for bowl games and everything else. And for the most part, coaches are cool with that because they realize they have that earning potential at the next level. And if they're playing in the National Football League, and we're using college football as an example here, that makes the university look good. That helps recruiting. So you take the day off. We got this. Again, if you're playing for a national championship or you're playing the Shreveport Bowl, it's a different story. The other thing I think is really interesting is it opens up an amazing amount of agent access. And that used to be a big no-no. Yep. I remember, oh my gosh, there was an agent on the campus, and I mean, the NCAA is going to come down on us and you're on probation and blah, 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 blah. That is the wild, wild west right now. It is absolutely. I saw the Butler brothers yesterday. They're creating a new agency just to go out, try to pick these kids, handpick these kids that perhaps have the potential to get deals or endorsement deals in college.
Of course.
And build them up.
Yes.
The problem is this. College kids want it now.
Yes.
Adults want it now.
Yes, right, exactly.
Right? I mean, we ain't taking the installments when we win the lottery. We want it all right now, even if it's half what it should be.
That's right.
We want the money now, well, because I know what I'm going to do with it. I can invest it. I can do whatever I want.
Right.
So my fear is you're going to have a record deal of athletes. And what I mean by that is we're going to give you $100,000 so you can do your next album, but we have the rights to the next 3 albums you do, and we need them within 36 months. And boy, after playing Jitterbugs and playing Senior Frog and playing Hogan's and playing all these bars for 3 or 4 or 5 years, you're the Velcro pygmies of student athletes. You're like, the hell with this. Let's take the money. We finally made it, boys. We got to give them some things. They're going to get the residuals. They're going to get the revenue coming from streaming services and all that stuff. It's a 3-year deal. We'll be fine. And next thing you know, it's a horrible situation. I'm not saying that's going to happen to every kid, but there are a lot of agents that are super swarmy.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden, and there's been like an explosion
of course, because
of people, because you don't have to have any you don't have to have any type of documentation certification in order to be an agent.
Well, and listen, and I know you brought this up. So they're talking about, athletes who are going to play at the next level. Mm-hmm. But this opens it up for all those athletes where there is no next level. Beach volleyball.
Okay.
Swimming. Right? I mean, again, I'm thinking, you see where my sports go, but look, think about that water polo player, that guy or gal, in this case I'm thinking a guy, kid, ripped, looks awesome, very articulate, could do endorsements out the wazoo, right? And at this point in his career, before this, he knew I can't do anything, right? I can't do anything. And so what I have to do, again, I'm thinking about sports where there is no pro level at the next level. So what he's doing is he's getting his education, he's creating his networks of business people, right? And with the idea that in case I go to the Olympics or whatever, what scares me about this is you've got to have so many athletes, these young, good-looking, talented kids, where $1 million is not going to be put in front of them, but potential is going to be put in front of them.
Yep.
That's what scares me. Because what you're going to do is you're going to essentially say to these athletes, you're an athlete. Because you're an athlete, you have now this extra opportunity. First it was laptops and tutoring. Now you have an opportunity to earn money. You can do endorsements, you can do signings, you can do all this sort of things. But think about this, and this is why I think psychologically this is most interesting. It will only work if you stay an athlete.
Yeah.
Right? But that's hard to put in your mind. Right? That's hard because we're not talking about only the ones who know that they're going to go to the pros. The ones who either there is no pro or they're not going to go to the Olympics, whatever, they're like, okay, I'm pulled towards all of this opportunity. I'm great at my sport. I love my sport. But it starts pulling you away from your sport. And the great paradox or irony is that if it pulls you away that much from your sport, then it pulls you away from the source, ultimately, that is going to bring you that money.
Yeah.
But you believe, or if somebody tells you, hey, look, don't worry, even if this goes wrong for you in sports, you still got an agent.
Well, like anything else, if someone's going to invest in you or pay you or have you to endorse their product and hold up Wrigley's chewing gum or whatever, you have to be relevant. You have to be relevant. I mean, good luck, an endorsement deal, someone's going to spend $50,000 on a car deal or whatever. Next thing you know, he's got a pulled ACL or he's ripped his knee up or whatever, and he's not playing the entire year. You ain't going to re-up for that endorsement deal.
Well, and that's the message.
So you're going to have to continue to be, and to your point, part of me likes this point because it's throwing kids into the business model. My issue is because I've been around college sports for so long, and I've done radio shows with professional athletes. I did it with Hugh Douglas over the game over in Atlanta. I worked with Jay Barker out at Greco and all these guys. Not the name drop.
You just did.
But agents were an issue before this thing came down. Now you're allowed to sign with agents. They just can't talk to anyone at the next level. Right. Okay, so you can have your own agent at the University of Alabama. You can have your own agent. They just can't be talking to anyone in the National Football League, which, okay, they're freshmen. Okay, that's fine. I just think you're going to have a lot of kids chirping in ears and trying to get them to do particular things. And
and kids who may not listen. Kids who recognize. So this one
there may be kids that don't want that distraction, that don't want to be approached. I'm just here. I want to get my education. I want to play. If I make it the next level, great. Leave me alone.
What about if you're in a financially strapped situation? Again, I go back to the one who's waiting tables because they're going to send home money back, right? Yeah. It's just, ultimately, what it's going to do is it's going to make these young athletes mature super fast because it's going to pick apart. Think about it. It's a total weeding out process.
Yeah.
You're going to have the ones who are just going to fall by the wayside, which is sad. And this is our friend Rachel Barbeau has been all over social media about this. There have got to be people to support these ones who are most vulnerable. They also got to be the ones who support these athletes who blow it, who make stupid mistakes because they're 17, 18 years old. Yep. So you got those are going to go. You got the ones who are going to ignore it. For either they're going to ignore it because they're so dedicated to their sport, they're going to ignore it because they already got money from their family or whatever. Yep. They're going to ignore it because somebody has said, look, you can make it to the next level, just keep focused. And then you're going to have the ones that are sort of in between. They're great, but they're not that great.
Yeah.
And my worry as a psychologist is the distraction. And I don't just mean the immoral part and the dirty agents, literally the mental distraction from a game that you're playing where whether you're the worst person on the team or the best, they're all great.
Yeah.
And the difference between you being able to stay on that team and rise up in that team or just stay on that team, it requires so much focus, so much. We talk about college athletes all the time that their life is not just fun and games. I know Jay's talked about this other.
Yep.
You go to school, you go to training, everybody's watching over you. Well, now you just threw in something that if you can't figure out either how to discipline yourself, which I don't think most of these kids can, I really don't, or, and I heard Paul talking about this today, you have got to, as a university, you have to have people in place.
Yeah.
If there's agents, you're going to have to educate kids about agents.
Yeah.
If there is, opportunities for social media, you're going to have to educate kids about good deals and bad deals. And you're going to have somebody on campus that these kids can go to that is looking out for their best interest, not the university.
We have a special guest coming on tomorrow from one of our great sponsors, Vituro Health, on 7:15. The last time this cat was on, it made me change my coffee pot.
Wait till you hear now.
Do you remember what I
Yes.
did? I was doing the Keurig thing. He's like,
Dr.
dude, you do
Gapin.
not want to be drinking anything from heated plastic. I never knew. I mean, how many cups of coffee you have? 4.
You
I'm like,
did.
okay, this is discreet. So Vituro Health will join us at 7:15, one of our great partners right here on KCast Radio. We have a transgender first. I love these.
I thought we already had one.
Oh, no, we got another
Weightlifting.
one. Well, that was for weightlifting in the Olympics.
Okay, what's this?
A transgender woman has been crowned Miss Nevada USA for
Hang on.
for the first time in pageants
Okay.
history.
All right, so let me hear the details.
Cataluna Enrique, 27, who only began competing
What
last
did you
year. Who,
Start.
Cataluna Enrique, 27, who only began competing last year in cisgender. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Cisgender pageants, was named the winner a couple days ago in the competition at the South Point Hotel Casino in Las Vegas. One thing that is important to me is exclusivity. Inclusivity, should I say, diversity and representation is something I did not have growing up.
Right.
It's still lacking in today's world. I'm a proud transgender woman of color. Personally, I've learned that my difference does not make me less than, it makes me more than.
Okay.
Did not always have the money. It's hard for women to find dresses that fit their bodies. So she made all the gowns that she made
And she
and
won.
designed herself, and she won. Mr. Nevada is now a Miss Nevada and is now going to be competing.
So
in
say,
Miss
I
USA.
didn't hear about cisgender. So before she transitioned, she competed in Mr. Nevada?
No.
Oh, I thought you
No,
was
I'm
a
just
joke.
saying he was a Mr. Nevada.
No. So listen, this to me is really interesting. Can we dive into this one?
Okay.
Because everybody bitches and complains, right, about on the sports side. It's not fair. They have a competitive advantage,
Yeah.
right? They're stronger. Okay, make that argument for me now.
It's a little different.
It's totally different.
It's a lot.
And
It's
they
a lot
won.
different. And I'll be honest with you.
They won.
If I'm born a female and I'm getting beaten by a transgender individual, that hurts. That's fine. It's like finding out your woman's cheating on you with another woman. I'm just telling you.
Oh my
If
God.
you, hey,
Can't believe you just
I know. Think about it though. You can't tell me that the other women in that competition are going, dude, we just got beaten by a man.
But
Like, we got beat by a woman that used to be a man.
yes, I know.
Because whether you like it or not, there are still some characteristics of even transgender women that are a little like a man. There's a commercial for Indeed right now of a transgender woman who used to be a man that's got a very deep voice. And it's kind of like, okay.
There's a MasterCard commercial too, by the way.
The other thing that's really interesting about this is I don't have a problem with it either way.
She won.
She did win.
Like, I mean, the criteria.
And I don't know if they knew she was transgender. I'm assuming they knew she was transgender before she actually competed. I don't know
Why?
if that plays in. I don't know. I would think that you would know that.
Why? How?
Well, they know now.
Well, maybe she.
Is she going to come out afterwards and go, "Hey, by the way,
Yeah.
I used to be a man"?
No.
Oh,
But I don't. It's not part of. I mean, there's no. I wouldn't assume in beauty pageants there's no questions, assessment about.
Oh, in pageants, there's all kinds of stuff.
But no,
They ask
about
all
what?
kinds. They ask about your dreams and what you used to do. and how
I'm
you
not
do.
talking that. I'm not talking about. But I'm talking about your genitalia and your anatomy. They're not. They don't come in and say, "Are you transgender?"
I'll say this as a guy. I can only
Only
speak
you
for-
can say this stuff.
I'll say this.
Oh, jeez, here it comes.
If you're a transgender and you're a man, you become a woman, but you really look like a woman, most guys don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, because
Even guys that don't like, and listen, I don't have a problem with it either way. I don't care what you look like. If you're transgender,
if
that's
you
what you want to do. That's
but if you
fine.
transition-
But this woman here is smoking hot.
But that's because she's a woman.
But not.
But she's a woman.
But Bruce Jenner, not so much.
No, Bruce Jenner. But Bruce Jenner's
See,
also.
and that's
But
where
how old's Bruce Jenner?
I don't know. He's going to be governor of California soon. Your state. You gonna vote for Bruce?
This is my former state. I was just thinking about that the other day. Can I just tell you this quickly? Because I was thinking about this the other day.
He's going to win. She's going to win.
All right, so she's gonna win, and I thought, okay, Gavin Newsom looks like he came out of Central Casting.
Yeah.
He might as well be in the movies. Right? I mean, he's just like
Good guy,
he's somewhere between Michael Douglas and Pat Riley.
Yeah.
Okay, and then before that, we had Arnie.
Yeah.
Only in California can we go from Arnie to Central Casting to Caitlin.
What does it say about?
California?
No. What does it say the fact that you have a lot better chance? This is really shallow, but I'm going to go here.
Go here.
You have a lot better chance at being born a man and looking good as a woman, as opposed to being born as a woman and trying to look like a dude.
That's not necessarily true. You should go look. No,
Is it makeup or what?
No, I'm not going to believe I'm going to say this. You need to do your research on images of transgendered.
No, I don't.
No, you do. Because,
No, I really don't.
No, but I'll tell you why. Because I know what you're saying, and it's not true. There are some amazingly handsome men who were born women.
I'm
And
sure there is. I haven't
look,
seen them. Maybe it's because this is really the news.
Well, so
because
listen,
we're
we
seeing
go the other
men.
way. You can go the other way around. Think about this. Think about some of the male character. Think about some of the characteristics, the physical characteristics of men that we find appealing.
Have we ever had a woman, born a woman, turn into a man and compete in sports? I'm sure it's happened. I've never heard it. I've never heard it. I've never heard of a person being born a woman, transgendering to a male, and then competing in sports or wanting to compete in sports. We'd never have that in the Olympics. It'd never happen.
I don't know.
I've never heard of it.
We're having an awkward.
I'm sure it's happened. Good time for you to talk about one of our great sponsors. I want to talk about Chris Dorsey's State Farm team. I'm going to have some lunch with him next week. I reached out to him yesterday. I thanked him. How often do you text your agent and say, thanks for charging me for another premium? I did it because my son did the steer clear situation. It saved us 20% off his insurance. He's 16 because a lot of young kids have not been driving because of COVID and the pandemic. The rates have gone up a little bit. State Farm's unlike no other, but they have the brand name, and we have the top 10 agent in Chris Dorsey out of 18,500 in the country. He's great. And so listen, I know I probably would have paid a lot more somewhere else, and I know you take care of me, but he takes care of everybody. I'm the Chris Paul, right?
I'm with him.
I'm not getting the special rate just because I'm Tony Curry, maybe just a little bit. I'm not getting the Aaron Rodgers rate, okay?
Guess what? You're not, because I'm getting the same special rate.
Yeah, I mean, they're giving me a great rate because that's what State Farm does. Chris Dorsey State Farm team, 985-7799, area code 205-985-7799.
I'll tell you another one is Woodhouse Day Spa.
Mm-hmm.
God,
yeah.
Day Spa. Woodhouse Day Spa is located up at the Summit, 905-7676, Stewart, Rome. Die-hard classic rock fan. You won't hear that music, though, at Woodhouse Day Spa. What you're going to get is 5,000 square feet of luxury. You can have manicures, pedicures, facials, massages. A lot of guys are like, I don't know, going in there. Go in there. They're going to give you a beautiful robe. They're going to give you slippers. They're going to treat you like you're on vacation, not just give you services. Go to their webpage, birmingham.woodhousespas.com, birmingham.woodhousespas.com, and that's Woodhouse Day Spa.
We're good.
Bye-bye.